I'm Joseph.
I'm Brandy.
And now we're going to talk about dip nails. So dip nails are cool. Dip nails are relatively new-ish. They've been around for a hot minute, but not as many clients are exposed to it as you think. Like, we are in the beauty industry, so we're just like, duh. But most clients don't understand. Like, they're still just like, I don't get it. But dip nails are super cool. They are the equivalent of acrylic nails. They give you, it's almost the same steps. It's almost the same techniques. When they're nice and done, it's nice and hard like an acrylic. So you can use it for multiple things. So if you have weak nails, you can use dip polish to make them a little stronger. Things like that. Dip nails are super, super easy to do and everything like that. Sorry about the phone. We're about to open, so people are calling all the time. So all dip polishes is just putting on polishes and dipping it in powder. There's not much to it. It just seems harder than what it is. But once Brandy shows you the technique, you'll realize it's just polishing and dipping the nails in powder. Polishing and dipping the nails in powder. Granted, there is a special way to dip, and yes, you do have to wipe it off. But the hardest part to remember is do not mix up the bottles. There are girls out there that are putting the 1 brush and the 2 polish and the 2 and the 3, things like that. They're not cleaning off the brushes properly, anything like that. You just need to understand that that number 1 is a really tacky glue. It's almost like super glue. So when you're wiping it on the bottle, like you dip it and you do the wipe, what you're doing is you're putting glue all around that rim, and it's gonna cause that bottle to be sealed shut, or it's gonna cause that brush, because you're wiping it all over the place, to be all mushy and put together. Your number 2 is your activator, so that's going to activate everything. So you don't want to mix the glue into there, because then it won't be able to activate. And then your last one is a top coat. So you want to make sure everything's nice and buffed out before you even use that, so no powder gets on it or anything like that. So the hardest part about this whole technique is just keeping your brushes clean and not double dipping and not sticking them into other cans or things like that. Other than that, it's super easy. Once you see the technique, you're going to be like, that was easy. Anything else you want to add?
I prefer dip nails just because my nails get very oily, and with, like, say, gel, it lasts maybe a week tops. And so I like it because, like it said, it is like acrylic and it tends to last a little bit longer. Be mindful again to not use water for the manicure. Always clean up after yourself. It's very simple. It's just like, it's very repetitive. You do one finger exactly the same way, you know, one finger, the next finger, then the other finger. It's very easy.
Cool. So now what we're going to do is demo dip nails. So let's get to dipping.
Okay, so today we are going to show you how to do dip nails. So first, I'm going to spray sanitizer, the Barbicide, on my table. Make sure you clean on the sides and underneath as well, okay? I have my nail towel, okay? This is going to get folded in half again. It's gonna create like a little pillow for them. I leave mine in half, lay it down, so they'll have their hand just like that, okay? I have my client. And now we're gonna do our setup. Let me show you how to do setup, okay? So I have my sanitizer on one side, polish remover, NOS 99, I leave it over here by my sanitizer, okay? And then I'm going to have my dehydrator and my lint-free wipes, and also my buffer right here in the front, okay? Then I'm gonna have my number 1, my number 2, and my number 3. They're literally all labeled. So 1 says base coat, 2 says activator, 3 says top coat. So it literally just goes right in order. So like we said before, it's very easy. You just follow steps 1, 2, and 3. But we're not gonna mix our brushes, okay? I also have my brush cleaner. I'm gonna show you how to do that. I have my little brush, and I'll show you how to use that. And we have our powders, okay? So I'm gonna start by sanitizing my hands. I'm going to spray the client's hands. All right. And I'm going to get a lint-free wipe. Wipe that off. Oh, and don't forget, you need your little trash bag. Put this in my trash bag, okay? I'm gonna get my buffer. And I'm going to buff the nail. If you don't buff it before, the dip cannot stick to it, okay? So now I'm gonna sanitize again. Get another lint-free wipe. And the reason we're gonna use lint-free wipes is because at least like on cotton, there is lint and it will stick on there and it'll be able to show. I'm gonna get some polish remover and I'm going to remove that dust and debris that I just got on there, okay? Because again, you want it all nice and clean before you put your dip on there, okay? Close this back up. All right, now we have our dehydrator. Going to brush this on. All right, make sure you close that right back up. All right, so when you start dip, it's important to have, this is my color, and you make sure you have it open before you start, okay? So I'm gonna have it open, and I'm going to get my number 1. Never fails, somebody will go brush on the number 1, which is your base coat, and then they're like, oh, I forgot to open this. So make sure this is open before you put your top coat on because it dries instantly, okay? So I'm going to brush that on there. Now be careful, you don't want it too thick because then it won't dry. And when you go to tap off or wipe off the powder, it all comes off, okay? But at the same time, you don't want it too thin, okay? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go at a 45-degree angle, okay? Go all the way in, come out and tap. Now, if you're going to use the brush, you need to let it dry for just a second, for a few seconds actually, because when you start wiping it, if it's not dry, it will start wiping all that powder off. Okay, and you can actually see right here, I didn't get enough top coat on, or I'm sorry, base coat. So I need to make sure to get it right there really good, and not too thick, but make sure I get it thicker than what I did. So that way when I go to dip it again, it covers the whole thing. So make sure I start where I missed some spots first. All right, again at a 45-degree angle. Okay, again, if you're going to use a brush, let it dry for a few extra seconds, okay, before going to tap. And so you're gonna only do it at least twice, okay? Now, if you're going to want it darker, like say, if you have a really light color, you can do the white powder first and then do your 2 coats. Just remember, the more coats that you do, the thicker it's gonna be. Now, if they want a nice thick nail, there's nothing wrong with that, but it can get super thick, okay? So I'm just gonna brush that off. Close up my color. I'm gonna get my setting powder, okay? Going to brush on my number 1. Okay, and again at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to close that back up. Make sure it's completely dry. Brush it off. Okay, now we're done with our powders and we're done with our number 1. Make sure it's closed up tight, okay? Or actually, what you can do while you're doing everything else, you can start your brush cleaning on your number 1. So, open up your brush cleaner. Place your number 1 directly into the brush cleaner, close it up. And I like to leave it usually for like the rest of the time that I'm working on this, okay? Make sure you close this back up too. Okay. Get your activator, okay? Going to just brush it on the whole nail. Okay, at this time, if there were any imperfections or bumps and you wanted to get rid of them, you would literally just take your file and file it down. She doesn't really have any bumps. I'm getting so much better. All right, she doesn't have any bumps, so I don't have to actually do anything. But let me show you, I'm at least gonna get my buffer and show you, okay? So say if there were any bumps, I would take this and just smooth it out. If you have your big file, you can do the same thing. You just want to be careful that you don't actually like file through the dip. It is very possible and very easy to be able to do that, okay? I've even seen like the most skilled people out in the salon, occasionally they have bumps and they have to get them out, okay? So these bumps are all gone. Sanitize. Lint-free wipe. I'm just gonna clean it with the NOS 99. Wipe it down. Get all that dust and debris that I just put on there off. It's not actually wiping any of the polish off, okay? So, if you're going to buff or file, make sure you get all of the dust and debris off, okay? All right, put this in my trash. Get my number 2 again. Brush it on there. close up my number 2. Now I'm going to get my number 3, my top coat, okay? So, and I'm literally just going to brush it on like any other top coat. All right, close this up, let that dry. Dries pretty fast, okay? I'm going to do my brush cleaner. And you'll, I get an orange lipstick to help me clean it off. So, orange lipstick. Get both bottles. Okay, the number 1, I just kind of scrape it with the orange wood stick. Be very careful of how hard you're pressing, because you can pull out these bristles. It's very easy to. Okay, put that back in. And I just kind of clean off my brush cleaner brush as well. All right, that is how you do dip nails. All right, it's very easy, very simple, but let's go ahead and let's just clean up, okay? So, I grab one of our handy dandy little baskets and I just start putting everything back in. Buffer goes into the trash. I break my wood stick in half, put it in my trash. Put everything back in my card that goes there. Make sure my powders are all sealed up. Okay. It's all good, so she can go. Fold my towels up. This goes into the trash as well. Now I got my barbicide again. Going to wipe off the counter. Remember to wipe it really good on the underside as well, okay? All right, guys, and that is how you do dip nails in Hawaii.